In early January 1984, Dick Anderson, the former Penn State offensive coordinator, agreed to become the new head coach at Rutgers. Anderson had his work cut out for him. Rutgers were simply awful in 1983. Now, Rutgers did look good from time to time in '83, such as on this touchdown pass against Penn State at Giant Stadium. Sophomore quarterback Eric Hochberg was injured on that play, however, and Rutgers' season fell apart after that. The promise made to Anderson was to give him $3 million to improve the team, and Rutgers' big game against Penn State would be the proving grounds. Yeah, let me know in the comments how much you think that $3 million ended up helping Rutgers football. Penn State, meanwhile, were a team heading in a completely different direction. With this first down in the Sugar Bowl, Penn State capped off a national championship in 1982. However, Nebraska steamrolled past Penn State in the first game of the 1983 season, setting the Nittany Lions up for an extremely frustrating season. Penn State dropped to 20th in the rankings after that first game, and then dropped out of the rankings after losing to Cincinnati at home in this second game. Penn State then was crushed by number 13 Iowa at home. That killed any thought they might have had of a repeat national title. But the crazy thing is that despite all of this, Penn State actually had some really good moments in 1983. In other words, this really wasn't a bad team. Despite the encroachment penalty, Penn State managed to beat Alabama after a goal line stand. Alabama had been ranked 3rd in the country and were undefeated until this loss. 2 weeks later, number 4 West Virginia was the next undefeated team to fall in Beaver Stadium. Penn State managed to beat Washington in the Aloha Bowl by 3, leading them to a number 11 ranking to start the 1984 season. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I really hate preseason rankings. I mean, Penn State went 8-4 in 1983. They barely beat an unimpressive Washington team in their bowl game. I can't really see any reason why they were in the top 20 other than reputation. That 11 ranking is particularly strange when you consider how inexperienced Penn State was in 1984. Quarterback Doug String, a senior, was the clear leader of the team, but you need more than a good quarterback for a good season. New Rutgers head coach Dick Anderson was optimistic, and of course, this marked his big return to Penn State. Well, almost 85,000 people showed out to greet him. Despite being injured in the game the year before, Eric Hochberg was not only back, but he was running the ball on first down. And it was Dwayne Hooper for Rutgers showing off his running abilities. Hochberg actually looked pretty good in the early going. As long as he stuck with short and medium passes, Rutgers could gain yards. But then on 3rd and 1, Penn State cracked down. It looked to me like Rutgers got the first down on 4th and 1. But I guess I was wrong. Penn State took over on their own 44. And then it didn't take long for Penn State star running back DJ Dozier to announce his presence. This made it 7-0. Now, DJ Dozier is actually a really interesting player. He was a basketball star, for example, at the age of 12, but he never quite grew tall enough to keep competing, and I kind of know how he feels. Dozier was eventually drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, where he played well for 4 seasons. In fact, Dozier wound up playing minor league baseball after his NFL career ended, which is really impressive. Now, Dozier did make it to the majors in '92, but he didn't do too much for the Mets. In hindsight, though, the Mets probably should have kept him in 1993. I mean, he wasn't much worse than the rest of that team. And of course, that means that Dozier was one of the rare Penn State football stars to wind up having a Donruss-rated rookie baseball card. It's pretty interesting to see where life takes these guys after sports. At least it's good to see that in Dozier's case, the concussions didn't completely destroy his athletic abilities. Anyway, after getting the ball back, Rutgers did nothing and managed a weak 24-yard punt. Penn State then had a frustrating time with the official on this call. They said that his knee was down, and that took back what would have maybe been a touchdown. All that forced a Penn State punt. Yeah, get used to that. There were a total of 18 punts in this game. 18! No wonder my head hurts so much after watching it. I'll spare you highlights like this.
Handoff to Vernon Williams.
As good as Hochberg looked at the start, the line just simply didn't hold for
At the
him.
line, he's in trouble. Gets away from one man, and then
Meanwhile, Penn
40-yard
State had a
line.
running back named Tim Manoa who was looking really good.
Straight handoff to Tim Manoa, the second.
Manoa, of course, played for the Browns in the NFL, who gave him this really ugly scorecard in 1990. They went to Manoa often in this game.
Again to throw. Fires out to Manoa. He has it. Manoa's at the.
And when all else failed, Strain got the first down himself.
And he sprints left. Keeps the football. Breaks the tackle.
It looked for a little while like Penn State was going to run away with it.
Gives to Manoa.
However, Rutgers managed to hold him here.
And the pitch back goes to Tony.
In the end, Penn State went for a field goal, making it a 10-0 game.
And it is good.
And then, out of nowhere, Hochberg started to come back.
Hochberg throws and has a first.
This was an excellent pass.
Hochberg will put it up. Good time. Throws up to a wide open Scott Drake.
And this one was also quite impressive.
In trouble, throws, and it's caught.
Okay, the referee called offsetting penalties here. He then did something I've never seen before. He walked 15 yards one way and then 15 yards the other in order to demonstrate how the penalties offset.
First against Rutgers, the 15 for offensive face masking.
I guess he has.
On the offense.
I think he has trouble with subtracting.
Okay, now we go this way.
Now the 15 come back to the spot.
Well, that's something.
Dead ball, personal foul, defense, first down.
You've seen.
Okay, what was that? I mean, seriously, the officiating in 1984 was weird. Rutgers had calmed things down a bit,
And Vernon Williams has a first down.
and they wound up with a field goal of their own. It was now 10-3 Penn State.
Perfect.
Penn State fumbled here, giving the ball up to Rutgers.
Fumble. A loose football. And Rutgers says they have the ball. We'll wait for the call.
Well, a break or two, certainly. Here it is.
And that resulted in yet another punt.
Very high kick with the win, and it goes into the end.
Now, for a guy who never played in the NFL, String actually looked pretty good.
Scrambling out of the pocket. And some nice running by.
And that passing game opened things up for Dozier.
Strang hands off to Dozier. Dozier with some big running room.
But then String got a little bit greedy.
Second down and 8, and Strang will put it up. Throwing long for Sid Lewis. And it's intercepted by Steve Twomley. Twomley returns it to the 3rd.
And then for Rutgers, it was Boris Pendergrass, his track and field star, making a huge play, almost scoring a touchdown.
Breaks the tackle. He's at the 20, and Pendergrass.
Rutgers did manage to get the game-tying touchdown a few minutes later, and now it was 10-10. And they forced another Penn State punt with this big third down stop.
Tony Mumford. He is stopped for.
It was still 10-10 as halftime rolled around. And you know, these stats aren't awful. It was a little surprising to see Rutgers passing so well, however. To start off the third quarter, Doug String clearly wanted to put Rutgers out of the game for good.
Has time, running out of the pocket. Now the pressure is on. Strang reverses field.
He kind of looked like Steve Young after some of these runs.
Strang rolls to his right. And he keeps it again.
And of course, Penn State were smart and mixed it up a few times.
At the 40. Strang hands to Dozier. DJ with a first down. He's in Rutgers.
However, String couldn't run away from this one, which led to another punt.
Strang, play action pass. Looking for Dozier.
Rutgers, meanwhile, looked bad.
Beaver Stadium. Hochberg play action pass. Throwing for Baker.
Could you explain this run to me?
3rd and 13 from the 8. Draw. Williams goes nowhere.
Penn State finally got the ball back and got the first down we had seen in something like 15 minutes. But that drive stalled.
It's a short punt. Butch Young with a fair catch. The ball.
Rutgers came close to a first down here, but fumbled.
Hochberg swings it out to Williams. Williams breaks the tackle, and he's close to the first down. Fumbles the football.
And then Penn State came alive.
To the right for Strang. He rolls to the right. Comes back against the grain. In trouble. Throws. Complete for a first down.
Tony Mumford made the big run here for Penn State.
Strang, draw. Mumford. Mumford to the 10. To the 5.
Penn State had a 4th and short here and went for it, and they didn't make it.
Handoff to the full.
Well, I know that it's common knowledge today that you usually want to go for it on 4th down, and, you know, I get really sick of just watching two teams punt the ball all day. But I still think that was a pretty questionable call by Paterno, who really should have gone for the field goal. It wasn't as bad as this play, though. I mean, who calls this from your own 2-yard line? Penn State wound up getting a safety, though this really should have been a touchdown.
He's back to pass. He's in trouble. He fumbles the football, and it's out of the end zone.
That gave us a 12-10 ball game. And then we had a few more possessions by both teams that just fell flat. I mean, seriously, you guys should be thanking me for watching this for you. This game was pretty painful. Penn State did manage a first down now and then.
Handoff to Steve Smith.
However, String had a poor day passing.
Third down. In trouble. Rolls, throws. It's intercepted. Picked up.
After plays like this 27-yard run, I've got to wonder why they didn't let somebody else be quarterback and simply turn String into a running back.
He doesn't have the time. The pursuit is there, and then all of a sudden he cuts it back inside. And the rest is right there on the screen. There it is.
Meanwhile, Rutgers managed to hold Penn State on 3rd down.
Washington after Strang. He gets away from one man.
That forced a punt once again.
John Bruno. Butch Young waits at the 10. Bruno trying to hold it up with the wind at his back into the end zone.
It was still only a 2-point game, remember that. I mean, this wasn't a blowout. This should have really been a close and exciting game. The problem is that Rutgers kept calling these draw plays that went nowhere. I swear, every first down play was this. This was a good idea, but it didn't work.
Hochberg rolls out, being pursued from the weak side, throwing long for Baker.
Meanwhile, Penn State was now running Mumford on almost every down.
Strang keeps it on the ground. Tony Mumford.
Mumford looked good here. String tried to draw play, but Rutgers were able to stop him short. That led to a Penn State field goal, making this a 15-10 game. Again, Rutgers had a chance to win. If they could just put together a single clean drive, they would have been fine. This was a total miracle play as Rutgers managed to recover the fumble. But then this was the very next play.
2nd and 1, Hochberg in trouble. Look out. He goes down in the arms of Bob White.
And then it was time for one of those ugly desperation passes.
Hochberg firing for Baker. And it is incomplete.
And that led to really the only interesting punt of the game. Gary Liska for Rutgers kicked this one 68 yards, even with the wind at his face.
It's inside the 30. Against the wind, it rolls to...
Yeah, you know it's bad when these highlights include a lot of punts. With time running out, Rutgers sacked Strang. Penn State tried to run the timeout with his run up the middle that went nowhere. There were now 53 seconds left. Penn State lined up to punt and then deliberately took a safety in order to waste time, so that made the score 15-12. You know, that's a strategy that I've actually seen before. I don't remember the year, but there was a famous Monday Night Football game in the mid-70s that featured it, for example. But still, I really have to question why they didn't just try to get the first down and then run out the clock. I mean, that run up the middle on 3rd down was really a bad idea. Rutgers had 7 seconds left and decided to try to get everything with this one pass, which was intercepted out of bounds.
It is intercepted out of bounds.
Okay, this is crazy. That left them with 2 seconds left. In other words, they could have thrown like a medium pass along the sideline and stepped out of bounds instead of going for the home run all at once. I'm telling you, the play calling in this game on both sides just drove me nuts. The final play was a copy of that last play with an identical result, except he was inbounds. Now, Rutgers was able to stop the Penn State player shy of scoring, but they wound up losing in the end. I suppose you could consider this a positive result from the Rutgers perspective. They didn't get blown out after all. The media praised Penn State's defense, and you'll notice that they said nothing about their offense. Honestly, though, I think they should have blamed Rutgers' play calling. These stats were not the worst that I've ever seen, but the 18 punts combined were painful, as was the ridiculous 41 passing attempts by Rutgers. They only completed 16 of those passes. This was the ugliest game that I've seen so far in this 1984 project. Hopefully things will get better after this.